Welcome to Bold Talk series where creativity, leadership, ideas, innovation come together. My name is Epi Ludvik, and today I have a privilege to have a short one-on-one conversation with Fabian Maume, Fractional CMO at Trinity. Fabian, great seeing you. Welcome to our Bold Talk series. How are you?
Good, and you?
Doing great. It's Thursday. It's almost the end of the week, but for us entrepreneurs, it doesn't matter, right? As we work in nonstop week and weekends.
Yeah, weekend is a lie, right?
That's right. But this is what happens when you enjoy working, right? So you're no longer working.
Mm-hmm.
Fabian, so great to have you. Looking forward to have this conversation with you. But before joining itrinity, what experiences in your career shaped your approach to marketing and leadership across multiple SaaS products?
Well, I did work on a lot of SaaS product. Like I think I work on more than 20, 30 product in total because I started my career as marketing specialist, basically, that I was freelancing and I was specialized in automation. So it's something very niche. And typically when you work in automation for startup, you don't have like enough work to do to justify a full-time position within the company. So I was just freelancing and working across different company. So that gave me like very broad experience. I tried to launch my own SaaS for some time. That basically there is like, one automation I set up for different SaaS and I try to make it as a standalone product. So that's something I worked for over a year and we sold back the project. So we were able to exit successfully. It was super interesting experience to have. So that was actually 3 years ago now. Yeah, 3 years ago that we exited this project. And when I was looking for a new job, I got offered to be basically CMO for a startup here in Czech Republic, but they were too small to justify full-time CMO because I don't remember exactly the MRR, but like they didn't have the budget to pay a full-time CMO and they didn't have the workload for a full-time CMO to be profitable. So I was working for them only like 2 days a week. And that's how I found out actually about the whole fractional CMO segment of things. And I think that actually make perfect sense for mid-size company. In most small company, you will have a situation where you have a CMO, which is also a marketing specialist. So he has, wearing several hats. And most of the work he's doing is actually to be a marketing specialist. And it can work well, like if you have mentoring for like the more strategic side of things. But if you want to just do the prioritization side of things and like allocation of budget, that's typically something which scale with the company size. And until you are really relatively wide scale in terms of B2B SaaS, it doesn't really make sense to have full-time CMO.
Yeah. That makes sense. That's where the fractional position, I've seen it not just in marketing, but I've seen also in the finance side and operations side and everything else. Now, Fabian, managing marketing for portfolio of SaaS businesses seems complex. How do you prioritize which product or strategy needs your focus at any given time?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm not working for all the products within itrinity because there is 7 products within itrinity and I'm responsible for only 2 of them. So we have dedicated CMO for the larger product, like Uptime Robot is like by far the largest and has dedicated CMO. And there's also dedicated CMO for TouchDay. And there's again, fractional CMO for Deadline Funnel and Geo-Targetly. So first thing is don't have too much company to manage because it still requires some time. You cannot be managing 7 SaaS in parallel, except if they're very small. The second thing is to really prioritize for each company what will have the biggest impact. And the approach I have for this, I could share you if you want after, like I made the template like modelize your SaaS funnel based on how much traffic you currently have, what's your activation rate, subscription rate, and churn rate. And it gives you prediction, like what should be your MRR in like 1 quarter time horizon. And also it make what if scenario on each stage of the funnel if you improve by 1%. So what would happen if you increase your top of funnel traffic by 1%? What would happen if you improve your activation rate by 1% or conversion by 1%? And that allow you to see where is the biggest impact on your funnel. The tricky part of SaaS marketing is the marketing work doesn't finish when you get a customer, because you have recurrent revenue as part of the SaaS business model. And so the retention actually play a big role. Upsell can play a big role. And depending on the situation of your SaaS, it's sometimes better to prioritize being fully on the retention side of things or being top of funnel. That's what I use typically to prioritize within the product what makes the most sense. And I'm also using this template to then prioritize resources between products because I have the same model for the two company I'm working on. So I can know what is the impact of creating a blog post for one company versus creating for the others. And then you prioritize where the money goes. Basically, just put the more resources where it generates a higher return.
Yeah. Now, Fabian, when it comes to companies like yours, like growing rapidly fast year over year, what do you think are the key ingredients that make a SaaS portfolio successful at scale?
So there are a few things. So one things I would mention first, like the big luxury of having a portfolio is that you don't need every product to perform well because you have diversification between products and you also have diversification between industry. So it allows you if there is an industry which is struggling, for example, SEO right now is really uncertain with all the AI overview coming up, you can be shifting resources to like product which have better grow potential. That's one thing that you don't have when you have portfolio. You have the luxury that not everything needs to work well. The second thing for each product to work well, you need to speak to your customer. That's boring things, but you need to have a user interview on a regular basis. And that's something we do at least once a year that we offer, a coupon code for like either coupon code or even sometimes like Amazon voucher for having interview with customer and with churn user that usually you learn much more from people who churn than from your current customer about what can be improved and properly understand basically what feature you might be missing, where the market is heading. So that one big part. Other big point definitely to follow what are the industry doing. So you want to follow what your competitors are doing, and you want also to follow what alternative indirect competition is doing. So one of the key product I'm working on is Email Verify, which is just email verification tool. So direct competition will be something like zero bounds and so on. But it is also really interesting for us to check what wider tool offering are doing. For example, like you have right now a huge boom of tool for lead enrichment like Clay, Apollo, and so on. And following what those tools are doing can give you good overview of what is going down the line in like half a year, 1 year time horizon, because they are company with much resources, typically much larger, and they generate a lot of content about what are market trends and this kind of thing. So I'm definitely subscribed to all newsletter of all those tools and follow what's going on.
Yeah. Now, how do you balance the need for growth with maintaining product quality and customer trust?
That's quite hard to do.
Because retention is it's important, like
Yeah.
in a
So
SaaS business.
one thing is like you need to work with product team, like because it's not only a pure marketing issue.
Yeah.
Most
The
of the
product the
retention.
product is your best marketing in a way, right?
Yes, like it's much easier to sell something which is working to try bullshit your way out for like a half-baked product. Um, you need to work a lot with the marketing team because they are the one which will do most of the retention work to have like proper feature. It's like what's going to give you value long term is typically to really work on reducing churn. And for this, one good thing is to look at feature which will give recurrent value for the user. So if I go back to emails verify, we typically have really high seasonality because you have Black Friday campaign coming. So you have a lot of email marketer which need to clean their database before sending those email campaign. And to have revenue which are a bit less bumpy and have like a use case for the whole year, We started developing other feature. We have one which is like a developability monitoring. So you can perform a test of where your inbox, where your email are landing, if they land in spam, main inbox, and so on. And this is something you want to do all the year long. So definitely try to work with your product team, have this type of product which generate recurrent value. That's what will give you the value on the long term is more, I will say, like 90% is in the product. What start to be really hard to balance is things like, upsell if you want to be pushing just upsell in short term, but it can damage your retention. Easy thing to boost your revenue is you increase prices. That will boost your revenue in short term, but it can create churn down the line and impact your long term revenue. So that's where it is much more complex to have proper balancing here. And for this, it's about doing modelization of what will be your revenue. Like if you have increase your ARPU by 1%, does it compensate losing like 1 extra person in churn? Typically, it's like yes for short term, but not for long term. And then it's a question you need to have with your management. It's important to know what is time value of money for your company because it typically depends on each company. It's like what is the interest rate the company use internally. So what is the value of having $100 for them now versus having $200 in year time horizon? So you can modelize this with like interest rates they're using for computing the exchange between personal, and that's ideally how you should be prioritizing between short term and long term.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is the type of data that you need, right, to make right decisions. And so I always like to go about saying, like, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And so you need data to measure it, and then you need to look for patterns and all that stuff. So now the SaaS landscape is evolving rapidly with new tools and technologies. How do you stay ahead of trends and ensure the portfolio continues to deliver exceptional value to users?
So we have a quite good product team, which is doing a lot of fast prototyping. And we are mainly playing with it with free tools. We have for both product I'm working on SingMS Verify, we have 15 free tools on the website, and Varmup Inbox, we have 9 free tools on the website. It's typically some macro tool which allow you to test one specific functionality. And it works well for top of funnels that it can bring you SEO traffic, and it gives you very good data for a product team of what makes sense to build next. If we see free tool which are getting a lot of organic traffic, we then rebuild them as part of the main core offering and integrate it with the main tool and then start monetizing this. I would say what gives us the best view of what is trending. You just try to ship some small MVP free tools and then monitor if it gets indexed on Google, what is the traffic you get from it, what is the sign up rate we get for all those landing page with free tools.
Very good. Fabian, this is a short format conversation I'm truly enjoying. I'm learning also same time. And I'm sure the viewers out there will be enjoying this and learning. I always like to ask this as the last question to all my guests, and that is about the word bold. What does that mean to you personally?
Well, like it's about being like strict and determined, I would say. And in my opinion, when it's come to leadership, it would be mainly about saying no and killing things which doesn't work. Like it's mainly about choosing what you do not want to do so you can focus on what makes sense. As marketers, there's infinite things you can be doing. You can always write more blog posts, make more social posts, and so on. But every activity has decreasing return, and you need to choose when to stop investing on every specific channel. And you need also to choose which channel you will completely ignore because they are not relevant for your audience or relevant for your product.
Very good. So you got to start saying no to a lot of things and focus
Yeah.
on the yeses that truly work. That's being bold. Fabian, so great to have you here. Looking forward to reconnect again. Until that time, take care, be great, and be bold always. Bye bye.
Bye.